Hey guys, it's Sandro here, and today's video is a demonstration on cleaning and protecting a leather chair. In front of us is an old and beloved lazy boy belonging to a family member who uses it every single day and has enjoyed it for almost a decade. But as you can hopefully see, it is in need of a good thorough clean to lift off all the grime that has accumulated over the years, and it could also do with a bit of protection to ensure it holds up well for many more years to come. So I thought this chair would be a good example to show you guys how to easily clean and protect really any leather seat in the house or car safely and effectively with very few products, cost or skill needed. As usual, I'll have the products used in this video listed in the description box, but like I always say guys, you don't need to use exactly what I'm using in my videos. Just use what's available to you and fits your budget. Firstly, you're going to need a leather cleaner. Capro Insight is a personal favourite of mine, and used at a 1-to-1 dilution with water, it's also reasonably affordable. But more importantly, I've always found it to be safe on leather, yet extremely effective. To start with, I'll be using the Swiss Vax leather brush, which again is safe enough for even more sensitive leather, but still reasonably effective. Just avoid using stiffer upholstery or carpet brushes, which can certainly scratch leather finishes. Now you can spray your cleaner directly on the seat, but I prefer to spray it directly onto my brush to avoid any chemical mark runs which can potentially stain the finish. Based on how dirty the surface is, you can work larger or smaller areas, but you will find that the dirtier the leather is, the better results you'll get by working smaller sections. You'll also find that scrubbing the surface with short and different directional back and forth or circular motions works better than using longer strokes and just scrubbing in one direction. And although you certainly don't need to hammer down with brute force, some moderate pressure will also help clean a little better. Also, try to give your cleaner a little time to cut through the surface grime. So on average about 35 to 40 seconds or so is a good time frame to work the cleaner in and get the most out of it. When it comes to the wipe off, use single strokes with a little pressure to remove the cleaner and lifted grime, and avoid wiping back and forth as you're just going to push that grime back into the seat. After a first test section, make sure you inspect your results, and if need be, you can alter your technique based on those results. So if you haven't removed all the grime, you can adjust your technique by working smaller sections, using a little more cleaner, or even using Capro Insight at full strength to increase its effectiveness. And if you find that the dirt is actually coming off super easy, you can even go the opposite way and work larger sections to save time and increase productivity. Now based on what I was seeing in person in the first test section, I had removed about 85 to 90% of the existing grime. Although looking back at the footage, it almost looks perfect on camera. But since I was already working very small sections, the best way for me to get that last 10 to 15% off will be to do another quick pass, which actually worked perfectly. Now, if my leather brush was the only tool I had in this scenario, then my best option here would be to use Capro Insight Neat or undiluted, which my guess is would probably work quite well, and hopefully save me from having to go over each section twice, which basically means this chair would take twice as long. However, I want to show you guys a cleaning tool that I now use all the time, which at least for me tends to cut my cleaning time in half, and also stops me from having to use stronger cleaners or concentrations, which also saves me money. This is the Capro Inner Scrub Glove that some of you guys may have seen me use in a few past videos. It's got quite a unique polyester and microfiber blend of fibers that actually feels kinda weird, but just seems to work so efficiently compared to a leather brush, yet is just as safe and gentle. So I'll once again apply my cleaner directly to the glove, but this time I'm going to work the whole section at once and basically spend less than half the time cleaning it. The other advantage of this glove is that it conforms to your hand. so you can really slide it into areas that are harder to access with a brush. But as far as technique goes, it's really quite similar to using a standard brush. Hopefully you guys can see that the leather is perfectly clean after just a single pass of cleaning, without having to be any more aggressive with the scrubbing or increase the strength of my cleaner. But regardless of what chemical, strength or tool you use to clean the leather, once you do a test section and figure out the best way forward, then it's just a matter of repeating that same process over the rest of the seat. A few more hopefully helpful tips I can add are, firstly, to make sure you're working out of direct sunlight and never let any cleaner dry on the surface, as that's what tends to create chemical stains or etchings on the leather. Secondly, always do a test spot somewhere out of view on the bottom or underside of the seat to make sure that your cleaner and method isn't going to damage or discolor the finish. Leather can vary immensely in its quality and sensitivity, so it's always best to do a test spot when cleaning it with something new. And lastly, you'll find that your leather cleaners, brushes or the inner scrub glove are also great and safe at cleaning other materials such as plastics, metals, wood and even rubber, so you don't have to avoid using them or use other cleaners and tools to clean these other commonly found materials on chairs. Now with the tape removed, hopefully you guys can see what a dramatic difference was achieved with really not too much effort, time or products needed. The leather has returned to its original colour and finish, and perhaps the most comforting part is that all that filth and grime is gone, and you can once again just enjoy the chair to its fullest potential. Now, to help maintain the leather in the future, I'm going to use a durable coating. But just before we get to that, it's really important to ensure that the surface is completely clean and bare so that the leather coating can effectively bond to it. So I'm going to use NV Clarity, which is a light concentration of isopropyl alcohol used to remove the cleaning chemical residue off the surface so that it's truly clean and completely bare, which is important so that I get the most effective bond and best durability and protection from my leather coating. It really just takes a minute to do. Simply spray it over a section of the seat, wipe it in and then buff it off. And unlike other cleaners that leave their own residue behind, this alcohol-based cleaner won't, and it's largely self-evaporating. The coating I'll be using is CarPro Sea Quartz Leather. It's super easy to use and everything you need to apply it comes in the kit. Just apply a bead of the coating along your applicator and dab it into a roughly square foot area, and then use a few vertical and horizontal overlapping lines to ensure it's applied evenly and uniformly across your section. Then add a new bead of product along your applicator and repeat the process over the entire seat. I'll also add the CarPro leather, works great on the seat's other materials such as plastics, metal, rubber and wood, so you can also coat them as well. Now Sea Quartz leather tends to self-level extremely well on the surface, but a few high spots or streaks are normal, in which case you should use a cloth to just gently level down any high spots in the finish. Now if it's a hot day, you may want to do this within a few minutes before the coating has time to cure. But in my case, where the weather was actually quite cold, I gave the coating about 10 minutes to flash and start to cure before coming back and leveling down any streaks, which worked perfectly. But if you don't see any streaks and the finish looks perfectly uniform, then you don't have to wipe it down at all. Now I actually ended up doing 3 coats of sea quartz leather about an hour apart to increase the durability and performance of the coating. But I'd personally recommend doing at least 2 coats if you want to get at least a year or longer out of it, and a single bottle of the coating should be enough to do multiple coats on multiple seats. Also, give the coating at least 6 to 12 hours to cure before use, depending on the weather and also depending on how many coats you do. So the colder it is and the more layers you do, the longer it will need to cure. But it will take a few days for the coating to reach its fully cured state, at which point it won't look quite as glossy as it does here while it's still curing. The best way to maintain the leather moving forward is to just use a damp, warm microfiber cloth and wipe the seat down once a week or so, as you'll find that the coating will make cleaning the seat so much easier, as well as preventing stains in the future. As always, I really hope you guys enjoyed and found this video useful. Please share this video, like, comment and subscribe to this channel to show your support for this content, and I'll see you guys soon.